Hey everybody, welcome to the Dungeoncast. I'm Brian.
And I'm Will.
This is the podcast where we talk about everything Dungeons & Dragons, from droll druids to dreary dryads. And today, we're doing a Q&A.
The Dungeoncast.
Will, I see you have a hat.
Yes, I do. I have
Maybe
a hat.
we can call it a magic hat.
The Magic Hat.
Filled with questions.
Full of questions.
It's filled with
So many
questions. Questions that you, the viewer, have asked us.
Yes.
As a special kind of thing that we're doing for a celebration for our 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, which now we're like way past that.
No, way, but we are past that.
I mean, like, it's only been a couple days. Not when you're hearing this.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Like, shoot.
Yeah, at the rate we're going,
Wow.
we will be way past 1,000.
So thank you guys so
Yes.
much. And we get questions here and there, and we'll get on the comments board and answer them. But
I do
we
what I
thought, if you've got something and you don't want to wait for the specific episode to come out to get that little bit of information you want, we would give it to you now. Just give the people what they want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do it. So should we jump right in? Do we have anything else we want to say before we start?
Yeah, we had viewers and listeners sending questions, whether it was tweeting to us or commenting on our announcement on YouTube or emailing us. And I gathered them from all the various mediums, and they're now in this hat.
They're in the hat.
So we're going to randomly draw questions out of the hat. We'll do our best to answer the questions as thoroughly as we can. We'll try and get to all of them. We are on a time limit, so we may not. But if we don't, there'll be future Q&As.
Yeah,
You'll get your chance again.
We're going to do this again.
Okay.
Maybe at another milestone, but let's just jump in.
Let's just jump in. You want me to pull?
Yeah, but you pull the first, or do you want to hold it and I'll pull it, and then I'll hold it and you pull it. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, let's do that.
I'll pull in the
All
first
right,
question.
You pull a question. That looks like a wordy one. Oh,
I got a
shit.
wordy question.
Oh no.
Okay, so I'm just going to read whatever's on this.
Yeah, just read it. I think say who it's from.
Yeah, Liam Mather replying to at the Dungeoncast. So I take it that this is from Twitter.
Yeah.
So how would you go about building a castle as a as a level 7 wizard with a small budget and a medium-sized piece of property? Necromancy, hirelings, fabricate, a combo? What is the most efficient way to make a keep or castle in 5e? And this kind of harkens back to something that we've touched on, which is your D20 business, right?
What do you mean?
Like if you like building a business or like making a castle or something like that.
Yes, very much so.
So what do you got for them, Will, on this one?
I have an answer.
Okay.
And it's the best I can come up with. But I want to hear what you have to say if you even have anything to add to this.
See, this is sometimes I don't see everything. Will's the one sifting through and talking to everybody on the social media. I edit the show and I do a lot of like music and production work for a lot of other projects we're working on that haven't hit the floor yet. So I've been pretty busy. This is a great question. You're a level 7 wizard with a small budget.
Let me give you some more details on this. So if you're a level 7 wizard, you have one level 4 slot, and I think 2 or 3 level 3 slots, and then more level 2 and 1 slots.
Right. Okay.
I don't know. That's all the information I have for you.
I'm playing a wizard in one of my games, so I can get more knowledge about the spells in D&D.
Okay. Yeah.
So like, I'm only a level 3 wizard right now.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. All right.
So this is much better suited for like. So I could come up.
You're
with
not
some,
sure?
I could come up with some bullshit. Do you want me to hit you with some bullshit?
Yeah, hit me with what you got. You got a low budget. This is your scenario. How do you do it?
Yeah, slavery, definitely.
Okay, but how are you going to get the slaves?
I mean, threaten people with magic or like make magic do the work for you. You're a wizard.
Yeah, I agree with that concept of making the magic do the work for you.
First, my dude Liam, you need a piece of land. You need.
Well, he's saying you already have it.
Oh, good. You have the prime. Oh, yeah, he is saying that you have prime real estate, which is like that's where you got to start.
That's half the battle.
You need a good foundation. Now, whether that's concrete or what kind of stone, find the materials from a nearby location so it's not difficult to transport. Unless you got some kind of transportation magic. I don't know. I don't think you do at level 7.
You got some stuff, but not anything.
I would definitely like. It depends on who you are as a character, I think, whether or not you can bully people into helping you or not. I think you're going to need some help. You're going to need to like enlist some villagers, entice them somehow. Necromancy is not my favorite solution to many questions, but
that's interesting.
You could do stuff with like slave labor from the dead is probably the best kind of slave labor.
I suppose so. It hurts no one. Okay,
well,
I mean,
you might be right.
Yeah. Okay.
They've already been hurt.
So here's my answer.
They've been hurt to death.
It's got to be. Necromancy is going to be used because like it's going to be your quickest and most clear-cut way to free labor.
Okay.
I think you'll be able to summon something like 6 or 7 undead skeletons to do work for you.
That's not bad.
So that's not too shabby. And
well, they work tirelessly for you.
They work tirelessly.
Hey, that's really good.
And you can, every 24 hours, you can just renew the spell to keep them going.
Okay.
So
you need some time.
Huh?
You're going to need some time. This is going to take
this is going to take some time because you got limited resources here. You say you have a limited budget, so your best bet is to use the spell Suggestion. Get into cahoots with like maybe nearby politicians, the businesses that are running like the stone quarries and whatnot. Use Suggestion on them and work out the best deal possible. Maybe convince a politician that like, hey, by having a castle garrisoned here, like it'll help, free brigands from the road. So maybe you can suggest to them to siphon off a percentage of tax funds towards your thing, and then use Suggestion on like the businesses that you need materials from, and maybe suggest like that there's going to be some sort of return so they can give you like, I don't know, a 40% discount on the materials that you're now using the tax funds to pay for. And I think that's going to be your best bet to building a castle as 11-7
If that's not enough, just really push that you have undead at your control and try to persuade them to go the extra mile for you.
Yeah, you can go the intimidation route, but I think that's going to lead to them hiring a party of adventurers to come kill you. So,
well, you've got 7 undead to do your bidding. So if a party of adventurers comes for you, use that as undead and your higher level spell slots to fuck them up.
Okay. All right. Hopefully that answers your question.
Well, was that the most efficient way? I think
that's
the most efficient
way at level 7. I think you can get it done with no money.
Right.
Like he said small amount of money. So it's
money, if you can find a way to get more money,
you need to spend that money to get you in a meeting with the local lord and the local stonemasons.
Yeah.
And then use your magic to get them to work for you.
Yeah.
So there it is.
All right. Well, I'll take the hat.
You hold the hat.
Thanks,
I'm
Liam.
Draw a question. Thank you, Liam. Thank you for your question.
A new question. Here it is.
I guess this one is chosen.
They feel like 2.
Yeah, the way I folded them. Oh, God, I can't even pronounce this one. This is from YouTube user MVFullVH. I did the best I could. What are some uncommon races that you guys would like to see in a homebrew D&D world, mainly in a society? Now, this question, I think what they're asking is what are some uncommon races that you want to see as like common races? Or is this like asking us to make up races? I'm not sure. Here, maybe you read the question.
Okay, yeah. So let me see. What are some uncommon races that you guys would like to see in a homebrew D&D world? Well, we ran a horror game where we used races that aren't like officially, like player races. I think
some of them were, but some of them were. We used monsters as like a main race. Like these were the people that lived in this region,
right?
And so I think that is fitting.
I think the bullywug is a cool one.
Yeah, it was bullywug, goblin, orc, and kobolds were the main races of society in this region.
Right, but as far as this question goes, I think the bullywug is like probably my pick.
Okay.
For something like that. I think it's a cool you've got all these like eccentric races walking around already in the regular lore. Why not like a frog guy? Yeah,
why not? Absolutely. I think for me, the clear pick for me is I'm a huge fan of the Shadar Kai.
Oh, I love that one too. Yeah.
And I've read novels with Shadar Kai cities and whatnot and their society. So like I'd like to see more of that in D&D homebrew worlds.
I mean, at this point for me, it's almost like that is just a normal race because almost all the campaigns I've played in just
they're Shadar Kai
use that homebrew.
Yeah.
And it's a cool. I love that homebrew. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Misty Step is really good.
Oh yeah, it is. And on a note of Shadar Kai, they actually came out with Unearthed Arcana with Shadar Kai. And I don't know if this is a controversial opinion, but I hate it. I hate it so much. It's so bad. It's inherently tied to elves, which I automatically hate because for me, Shadar Kai have never been elves. And I don't know why they're suddenly being a sub-race of the elf race.
Yeah, that's kind of weird when you have like drow.
Yeah, the way it was flavored, I didn't like it. So I'm sticking with my homebrew. Sorry,
I kind of like
Wizards.
we almost ran a drow in my game.
Yeah, drow are cool.
Yeah, that's they don't have to be. Evil. Nothing has to be anything.
Yeah,
so
true.
I mean,
Warforged are awesome. I like to see more Warforged.
Oh, those are really dope.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of Warforged.
I really like that one from Join the Party. I really like that Warforged
yeah,
join the party
yeah,
with the
yeah.
rage switch on his back.
Yeah,
that's
cool.
cool.
really, really fucking cool. There are some old races that I'd like to see like make a comeback. Shard mines are pretty cool.
What are those?
They're like crystalline, sentient crystal men.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
okay.
there's a whole
I can
bunch
see
of
that.
lore on them. They're really cool. The Wilden were really cool. They're like plant people.
Okay.
They were cool. Minotaurs. I love Minotaurs as a race that has a society and not as mindless monsters. But that's because of my background with Dragonlance.
Well, I really like that too, and that's actually something that we're doing in my game.
Oh, yeah?
Is Digo is one of the characters, and he's got a relationship with
Minotaurs.
With a Minotaur, and not like anything sexual.
No.
Just like
or maybe
they're
maybe
bros.
He does.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Sorry, Freeland.
Okay. Okay, well, I think that answers the question.
Yeah.
So thank you for your question.
Bullywugs,
Shatterkai, Minotaurs, Warforged, Shard Mines, and Wilden.
all of them.
Those are super uncommon.
Hit me with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So I'll hold the hat. You pull the question.
Yes, and I want to say thank you again to MV Folev H.
Yeah.
Folev.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks,
there
man.
it is.
or lady or whoever.
Yeah.
Whoever
Whoever
that
you
is.
are.
Them. And I'm drawing a question, and it's one line. Oh God. I know this name. I just don't know how to say it. Etienne Bourgeois.
Oh, okay.
And they asked what class that's not currently in the official modules would you like to see in 5e?
Okay. Do you have an answer for this, or do you want me to go first?
You go first.
I think the most obvious one for me is Alchemist or Artifice, or really more than Alchemist, which they have an Unearthed Arcana for, and I really like it.
Didn't make it. Didn't make it into Xanathar.
No, but no full class made it into Xanathar's Guide.
That makes me think they're going to write another book.
Oh, well, yeah.
I know they are, but
So I think the one in Unearthed Arcana only goes up to level 7, but I really liked it, and I cannot wait for it to be official. Other classes that I want to see, and I know I'll never see, is Sword Mage from 4th edition. We're never going to get it. I wish we would.
That's what I thought you were going to say first too.
Right. It's definitely in the top 3. We're never going to see it, and I understand why. I mean, we have the Hexblade now. We have an Eldritch Knight since the beginning. We have a Blade Singer.
It's like staying away from it.
It's like we're dancing around it, but we're not quite getting to it.
Wizard, stop beating around the bush.
I know.
Give us a Sword Mage.
So I'd love to see the Sword Mage. What's another class I would like? I would like to see an Alchemist class. That would be cool.
That's pretty cool.
I know that kind of steps on the toes of an Artificer, but I would like to see a dedicated Alchemist class. That would be really neat.
I really like the Lazy Lord from
Warlords.
Yeah. War like specifically like building the lazy. I know that's metagaming a little bit, but
that's okay.
it's such a cool concept.
Right.
Like I am the fighter, but I'm going to be back here. Do the thing.
right.
Everyone, you go here and you go here. Like it's just like a funny role play.
Yeah, I think that it would be cool to have a Warlord fighter subclass. That's something I think that I'd be really like, after seeing what they could do with the Ancestral Guardian and Barbarian, where you basically took what is known to be a very offensive class and make it very defensive. I think it'd be really cool to take a very like combat oriented class and spin it to be more support, and I think they could do that with Warlord. Another one's the Scion, or I hope they don't call it the Mystic.
I saw that in that was an Unearthed Arcana as well.
It was. I look forward to that. I hope they go back to calling it the Scion, because it's just a cooler name and it's much more obvious what the hell it is.
Yeah, it's like in line with what it's doing.
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
psychic stuff, right?
Psychic stuff. And there are other psychic classes, 4th edition, I'd like to see. There was the Battle Mind and the Ardent. Those were cool. So I'd like to see any of those. Mostly the Scion, though. I think that's pretty much it. That off the top of my head, I'm sure there's other stuff. I mean, there's old class like the Duskblade. That'd be cool.
I would like to see some kind of class that's Fey in origin, but not an elf.
No, I mean, there's the Warlock Fey Pact.
Yeah, maybe.
Get that.
I don't know. Maybe something else. Like,
some more Sorcerer bloodlines than the ones they have would be nice, but we're already starting to have those. So
okay.
Yeah. All right, next question.
All right, go for it.
Thank you. Let's thank that person who.
Oh yeah.
Let's re-thank them. We thank at the beginning and the end.
Etienne Bourgeois.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Sorry, I don't want to.
All right.
I probably butchered your name.
This one comes from Josh Freeland.
What?
Thank you, Josh Freeland.
Josh, I didn't know you put any questions in, man.
He did.
Oh,
just this one.
Hey, these are randomly assorted. You can see on YouTube we got this hat.
Yeah. What are some of your favorite characters that you've played as and DM'd for? Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
Right now, one of my favorite characters that I ever DM'd for was Glader. For sure. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. He was a big Dragonborn and based his character build off of the Punisher.
Right.
He's a big Dragonborn paladin. And that was just like I can't wait to, I only did 2 games as a step in for you in your world, but it was really fun to like experience this like super bold, like buff, like forward character that was like about the smash. And just so like, that character was so driven and had like such a clear purpose.
Right.
Like there was no ambiguity. I knew what they were going to do. That was a lot of fun.
Okay. What about playing?
To play as, man, I don't really have as much experience as a player, but I really like Giselle Strongbear.
Yeah. Giselle is definitely in one of my top.
That's probably been my favorite. I mean, I have a special place in my heart for the characters that I've role played as. Even Don Garrow, the bullywug from the horror game we did. You can find these on Patreon. This is not necessarily a plug, but if you guys want a reference for what I'm talking about right now, this is both in our Patreon.
And we released the first episode of both of those.
Yeah, so you can find it on the feed.
Yeah.
So if you got the role play I did for Giselle Strongbear, which was like a dwarven druid, that was a lot of fun. It was a 4E character. We're actually going to do another Vault Raiders where we translate everything to 5th edition.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really interesting. I mean, the role play doesn't change, but the mechanics are going to change a little bit.
Right.
That was in my top for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. She's one of the best characters I've ever DM'd for. Okay, so on my end, I'll start with the ones I've DM'd for. Giselle, obviously. What I'm trying to think of like a character I've DM'd for that really stood out to me. Like I'm trying to think of characters that didn't stand out.
Well, I thought Rosin was cool.
Rosin's cool.
Shatter Kai.
But I'm like, really stand out. Honestly, Thanic from our old game.
Yeah, that was funny.
Just like he was a tiefling warlock / cleric, and he was just a very pompous, arrogant asshole. And I never DM'd for a character like that. And I thought Nick roleplayed him very well. And it was very interesting to DM a character that clashed so difficultly with the rest of his party. So that was pretty interesting. And then Giselle was amazing. It was really fun to DM for a character as unpredictable and as zany as Giselle.
Yeah, all over the place.
Yeah, she was definitely the wild card of the party, and it was a lot of fun. As for characters that I've played, I think my favorite character to date that I've ever role played was a human sword mage from 4th edition, who I named Sanosuke the Stormblade. And what was interesting about him was he was a much older character. I've never role played a character that was much older. I think I put him in his upper 50s.
Yeah.
And
well, I remember him because you brought him in as an NPC.
Oh yeah,
in the game.
I forgot I did.
He like served as a mentor for my fighter character in that game.
And the way I role play him is, well, he's
technically I DM'd that character.
You did DM that character
because you ended up, when I stepped out to DM, you stepped in with that character.
Yes, I did.
That was fun.
Yeah, that was fun. Sanosuke, his story is that like he is a master of a fighting style called the Way of the Storm, in which he infuses lightning and thunder magic with his sword fighting. And he had a daughter who he raised in the same way, but he was overbearing. And very much in a vein of Naruto, he was like her sensei and her father, and was overbearing and demanded too much of her. He ended up breaking her spirit, and she fled the realm or whatever, and he lost his daughter.
Damn, the whole fucking realm. I gotta get out of this whole fucking realm.
Well, he comes from like an island nation, so she fled. She sailed across the sea. No, not at all.
Realm.
And basically, his story is like now he regrets what he's done. He's seen the error of his ways. He's gone through a lot of shit since then, and he's out in the world searching for his daughter.
Nice.
And like it was just so, I don't know, it was so crazy to put yourself in the shoes of such a different type of character, a character who's really lived this tragedy and is just trying to find forgiveness from his daughter and for himself. And also he's this older, and trying to play an older, wiser person is difficult to do.
Yeah, because you don't, like, in the real world, you don't have that experience, that wise and hardened outlook.
You do what you can, yeah.
Right.
And it was a lot of fun. And it's such a favorite character of mine that to this day, I think the last time that, well, besides the game that you DM'd, when I first came up with him, that must have been like 5 years ago.
Oh,
and
wow.
like to this day, usually my gamer tag or handle is Stormblade because I just love that character.
It's cool. It's like a take on the Storm Genasi, but just like toned down to earth.
Yeah, because he's human.
You're right.
So, yeah, there it is. All right, next question.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thanks, Josh
Freeland.
It's my turn.
I hold.
I can see that one. Oh, that one looks long. I'm gonna grab this one.
I'm gonna mix them.
Yeah, mix them up. I cheated.
Yeah.
This is from Aaron Niaribo Roberts. Sorry about your name, man. Or lady. I don't know. Them. I'm not gonna gender
Aaron,
anybody.
is it ERIN?
It's ARON.
Oh, that's.
I mean, according to this,
I think that's the male way of spelling it.
Let's avoid gendering anybody. Let's just go them because we don't know.
Yeah, we really don't.
If both of you had to choose one of the 4 elemental planes, earth, air, water, or fire, to spend the rest of eternity in, which would you choose? ? Also, how would it look in your ideal setting? That is a great question.
All right.
And one I can answer very easily.
Okay. Well, okay. But
no, I can't.
Well, this question...
I'm torn.
This question has 2 layers to it because, number one, if you had to pick one, which one would you live in?
Yeah.
And how would it look? So we're getting to choose where we live and make it our paradise?
Well,
you know what I mean? Like, should we choose like the vanilla version and then choose our homebrew version?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to go first?
I'm going to need to know what the vanilla versions look like. That's part of it.
Oh yeah, you don't.
Like as far as D&D,
really understand.
I know the elemental plane of air is just like this fucking.
It's just sky.
This fucking no landscape at all.
Yeah.
It's just like so no on that one. And am I living there in my human form and just like being ethereal and like?
Well, I think
all this
us.
air is fucking great.
It said us. So.
I mean, I probably Earth if it were me because I feel like that's less damaging.
Earth would be my number 2. Okay. So number 1, not water because I can't breathe water and there's nothing but water and there is no surface to this water, so not water. Number 2, not fire because for obvious reasons
you would burn and die.
Yeah.
Let's make this question a little more interesting because I think the direction that they're going with it is like if you could be like an elemental of that plane or like live there in like if you're going to spend your eternity there, it kind of insinuates that you're not going to die immediately upon contact with the plane.
Well, let me finish answering it this way, and then we'll switch over to your frame of thinking. Earth would be kind of interesting. It would suck not having sunlight, but at least you can walk.
Is it like underground?
It's nothing but ground.
Oh shit!
Yeah, so like I imagine there's no sky or surface, just like the water in the fire world.
Then how does people go there and like traverse it?
They don't usually.
Oh, sick. Okay, yeah, for sure.
So air would be my pick because there are land moats that you can find, and there are clouds that you can walk on that you can find.
That's true.
I would find myself a nice little cloud island and homied up with some cloud giants who won't eat me because cloud giants are kind of cool, or maybe some air genie because they won't necessarily kill me either. And yeah, that's how I'm spending the rest of my life.
Just kick it with the air genie.
Yeah, because
tell jokes.
At least they won't outright murder you.
Now, the second layer of this question, I think, is where the money's at.
Okay,
because if I were to pick a plane that I could just like live in and like kind of have some dominion over, maybe.
Now we're adding on to this question.
No, I don't think so because they're asking
dominion.
Me, how would it look in your ideal setting? Which means to me is like if I am a fire elemental and I want to live in the plane of fire, that means I have some dominion there. It's like I can control like fire or move through it or be a part of that. Maybe like it would look like a bunch of volcanoes. Like I would just like traverse lava and shit and it wouldn't hurt me. That'd be really cool. Or like the water elemental plane would be like an island chain and I would be like a sailor almost. Like,
yeah. If I get to choose in that regard, yeah, it's definitely water because I'm going to live on a dope ass tropical island. And if I have the ability to traverse like the water plane, or any of the planes, I'm definitely going to choose water because I can like merman it up and just go down and do cool.
See, that's really cool.
Stuff.
In this case, I would probably, my favorite would be would end up being air, and it would be like a bunch of sky cities. And I would probably have like a riding beast, or could fly myself.
That's dope.
And move through the air, maybe become mist or a cloud or something. Yeah. That would be sick.
Yeah, I agree. I think we answered this one.
Yes.
That was our quickest one so far, I think. Maybe. All right. Here we go. I'm choosing.
Oh, and thanks again, Aaron.
Thank you, Aaron. Okay, chose one. This one's skinny.
You have chosen.
Ryan Brown sends to us, if you were to run a game in a non-high medieval setting, what would you run? I have a few answers for this, but I'll let you go first.
I really like the post-apocalypse.
Yeah, obviously.
Yes. I know. I really do though. Like
I know.
It's a lot of fun.
It
well,
is.
They don't know.
Okay,
you're playing in that game. So
I know.
I'm doing it. I'm living this question right now.
Dream.
Or and I know you're gonna say this, but space.
Oh yeah, that was one of the few that I had listed.
Like there's this really cool
space opera specifically is the way I would run it.
I really like the cyberpunk kind of thing. I listened to Friends at the Table where they did a mech noir, which is like kind of a space spaghetti western style, like Cowboy Bebop, Outlaw Star. Yeah, Trigun, like any kind of thing that fits into that genre. I know what's that one, Firefly. I haven't watched that one, but I know that's kind of like a space, like cowboy kind of thing. Yeah, that would be a sick setting because it's kind of like the post-apocalypse, or like there are evil like corporations like working in the shadows against you. That's a cool setting.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Outlaw Star?
No, it's on my list of things to watch.
Such a good anime.
Because I've watched Bebop and Trigun, and I know Outlaw Star's like right there with them.
I know that a lot of people consider Trigun and Cowboy Bebop to be far superior to Outlaw Star, and I do love Trigun, and I do love Cowboy Bebop without a doubt. I would even venture to say Cowboy Bebop's borderline masterpiece.
That's one of my favorite animes. For sure. Spike Spiegel is a great character.
Outlaw Star is much more shonen-y.
Okay, yeah, sure.
But I love Outlaw Star more than I like the other two, but that's just personal preference. Moving on.
It's on my watch list.
Let me answer the question. So you already said space, which was one of my top ones.
I think my version of space is different from your version.
Well, I agree with the space cowboy spaghetti western, whatever. I do agree with that. That's a cool way to do it. Another way to do it would be Star Wars style, like space opera.
Yeah.
One that I think would be a lot of fun is feudal Japan. It's honestly the same as the medieval, but you're reflavoring it.
Yeah,
like you're giving it Eastern Asian spin, and
with like the shonen, and
with the shonen and samurai and all that cool stuff. So that would be a lot of fun.
Ooh, like a blend of all the things we just said would be like running a setting in like the Samurai Jack scenario.
Ooh, that'd be cool. Yeah,
you go to the future as like a member of feudal Japan, and you're
like
just
that.
like a fucking. It's like a space orgy going on like planet Earth, like nasty magics and like evil demons. You got like everything going on in Samurai Jack.
Of everything, yeah. Another one, and I've done this before, and I think it's a lot of fun, doing like a swords and sandals kind of adventure where it's like ancient Babylon kind of feel, where it's like old desert. All the empires are on the rise. There are no ancient empires because the earth is new.
One of your party members is like, he's got a piece of leather. He's swinging a rock in it.
Yeah. Technology is really non-developed. There are no wizards. There's only sorcerers. That kind of deal. So that'd be a lot of fun.
Sick.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's a bunch of stuff, and I love it all.
And you can all run it in 5th edition, no problem.
Here, take this.
So thank you, Ryan Brown.
Yes, thank you, Ryan.
All right.
What do we got? We got this from James Stewart. I was wondering, as a DM, how many alternate plot lines should I have for player-based choices? And I saw this comment come in. Mm-hmm. That is a deep question.
It is.
That is
I actually, it was such a deep question that I wanted to answer it correctly, and I answered that person best I could online. Okay. But I kept it because it was sent to us, so I figured I kept it, and we can answer it here on air.
Yeah. So what did you come up with for this answer?
I mean, I guess my answer is a non-answer. The way
this is hard to nail down.
I run my games. Okay, so the way I read this question, it sounds to me like this person likes to have almost like a choose your own adventure.
Exactly.
Event A happens and A, B, or C can happen, and they diverge here, and now I have different plot lines running. And I don't know what they're going to choose, but any of these could happen.
Right.
And there are a lot of DMs that do that. I do not do that. That is overwhelming, and quite frankly, like, you may have options A, B, and C ready to go, and they choose F. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, this is chaos theory. This is
chaos
like the butterfly effect going wild.
Okay, so one of the philosophies that I kind of live by when I Dungeon Master is Dungeon Masters don't have plans. NPCs have plans, and those plans get fucked up by PCs. The Dungeon Master just facilitates it all.
Right.
So I don't really have all these alternate plot lines going on. I just have like, I basically have a timeline of NPC goals and like events.
So there's in the movie Constantine, not the show or the comic, the movie with Keanu Reeves.
Okay.
There's a scene where his like ride along character, the girl, what's her name from The Mummy? The British girl. Anyway,
I don't think Rachel Weisz is actually British.
She was super British in The Mummy, though.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's Rachel Weisz.
Yeah.
Okay, so she okay, so
it's funny when sorry when you asked me who she was, couldn't think of it. The second you called her British, I'm like, Rachel Weisz isn't British. The brain is funny.
So in the movie Constantine, she sees like this new world, right? And she's like contemplating what it all means, and is like what does this all mean to me and my faith? And he's like, God's just a kid with an ant farm.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
You're that DM.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Well, I have a set, like a timeline of like,
he's not
here
planning
are all
anything.
the NPCs.
That's the line.
Here are all the cities and nations. These are the current events. These are the things that will occur without intervention.
Right.
And when intervention happens, you improvise it.
Yes.
So I think
improv is huge.
Improv
for DMing.
is huge for DMing. It's
have some stuff ready to go. Have a table to roll on.
Yeah.
I mean, just to help you. If you want all these options to pop off, have something to kind of assist you to facilitate if it's something you're struggling with.
Yeah, I couldn't Dungeon Master if I ran it in a way where I had like alternate timelines ready to go in different scenarios for different events. I just couldn't do it.
There's a lot of moving pieces.
Yeah.
And I know DMs that can do that. They have all these moving parts everywhere. And because you did this, now this is going to react like this and it's going to spiral off and do a bunch of different stuff to the world.
Yeah.
And now it's this. And I thought it was going to be this, and now it's this other thing.
Right.
That's all good and fun. My style of DMing is to plan this event and, oh shit, they turned right instead of left. Well, that thing is over here now.
Okay, that is one way you could do it.
It looks different, but like, I'm not throwing this dungeon away.
Fair enough. That's a form of railroading, hidden railroading, which there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, for what we're doing for my game, it's kind of necessary.
Oh yeah, I think it's necessary in most games to do that every once in a while, or to do that regularly. Yeah. I think what this person's asking though is like, well, they're directly asking like, event A happens and solution B, C, and D are available. Do you run all three of these scenarios to their logical endpoint, or do you just pick one? What you're saying is kind of like you picked C, they chose D, now C is D.
Right,
is
exactly.
what you're saying.
It changes to fit.
I understand.
Yeah, like it's not just, okay, that location on the map is here. It's like, no, this thing that was in this location on the map is now in this location on the map, and now it has to look like this.
Okay, yeah. You reskin the one scenario you had
like,
on the fly.
Shit, and it's always a panic thing too. Like, shit, I gotta do this now.
The way I do it is I present them with problem A. I do not even bother to think of any solution. Y'all come up with a solution, and now we're ad-libbing it. We're just going. 80% of my dungeon mastering is improvisation.
See, I do that too, where I'm like, I'm going to throw this at them. I don't see how you can get around it. Mm-hmm. And I kind of know my players enough to know that this is probably what they're going to do about it.
Yeah.
So let's let that all happen.
Yeah.
And let's see if they come up with something, because improv is really good. It keeps the story like fluid, I feel like. As long as you're not like, oh, this would happen, just make sure it kind of try to make it make sense, I guess.
Right.
Yeah. Do your best. Okay.
All right.
Let's go.
Here, I'll pull.
I think we have time for a few more. Maybe like
maybe
2 or 3 more.
2 or 3 more, I'm thinking.
Well, that's a beefy one you got there.
Gosh, yeah, it is. Okay. So this is sent in by...
Oh, yeah. Thank you, James.
Yeah, thank you, James. This question was sent in by Ton Perry. It's Ton. That spells the word ton to me.
Ton
or Ton Perry. From original D&D, BEMCI, AD&D, AD&D 2nd edition, D&D 3rd/3.5, 4th edition, and 5th edition. What are your favorite or least favorite aspects of each edition? And as an aside, do you ever carry over rules or styles from old/other editions?
This is not the question for me, my man.
Yeah, unfortunately, Brian is incapable of answering this question, for he has only played 5th edition.
No, I've played 4th edition.
One game of 4th edition.
But I feel like one game of 4th edition told me everything I need to know about it. So I can answer from 4th to 5th.
Okay. And I can answer from 3.5 to 5th, I suppose. Although my 3.5 experience is extremely limited.
But let me say this before we get started. I wish I had this knowledge to answer the question. I really do.
I do have some knowledge. Okay, so let me go first. I'll just go first.
You're gonna need.
I've never played 1st edition. I know very little about it, so I'm not gonna bother tackling it. 2nd edition, I've never played it, but I know enough about it to know that I would not like that game. I'm not a fan of the THACO system. I don't like the idea that smaller numbers are better. It's not how my brain works. There's a reason they changed it, and that change stuck. I don't like the earlier editions, kind of railroading of the role play, where it's like, if you're a paladin,
I've heard
you
of
have
that,
to be this.
If
you're a rogue, you have to be that. I don't like the idea that only humans can multi-class.
I don't know if you guys know us well enough at this point, but we love creative freedom.
Yes, and as much as I love the fact that these games existed and they've made role playing what it is today.
Yeah, we here now.
Yeah,
exactly.
We here now. Yeah. So that's I can definitely tell you what I don't like about older editions. Although I do like, I will say that even though the limitations of the role play that are built into the system of 1st and 2nd edition I don't care for, there are some good things that come about it.
I feel like it would be interesting to play it. It'd be for sure. Just like to accept it for what it is.
I do like the fact that because of the limitations, like it prevents classes from stepping on each other's toes.
Yeah, like you're always going to have the diversity in the party.
Yeah, which that is nice. So I do like that. 3.5. I'm not a huge fan of 3.5. I don't dislike it, but it's just not the game for me. I love the ability to really hone in and customize your characters at 3.5. If you know what you're doing, you can make pretty much anything you want in 3.5.
Mm-hmm.
I simultaneously don't like this because it's so mechanically tedious and convoluted that if you don't know what you're doing when you're first jumping into this game, you have no idea like the massive amount of feats you should never take because they're garbage and it'll break your character in a bad way. You don't know all the various subclasses and the various prestige classes that you do and don't want to take. Like it's so much, it's so massive and so much at once that like I find it daunting.
Yeah. Let's talk about the naming convention. 3.5 is a bad name.
Well, 3.5 is what happened because 3rd edition had a lot of inherent flaws. So it's basically they eroded all the flaws, and I don't think it's officially called 3.5. It's just people call it 3.5.
Oh, I understand now. So it's not actually called, because 3.5 is a bad name.
Yeah, it's just it's a short way of saying the eroded version of.
So it's 3. It's new edition. 3 edition.
Yes.
Okay.
But they're different enough to differentiate them, and 3rd edition went on long enough.
Okay, I kind of understand that.
Sorry for hating. There's a similar thing that kind of happened in 4th edition, but it wasn't official enough to make or break the naming convention.
I see.
So yeah, there's that. I think 3.5 is daunting to jump into as a new player. It's also there's too much mechanically going on with it for my taste. 4th edition, I simultaneously love and hate the combat system. There's so much about it that's really cool and fun, but there's so much about it that's really clunky and time consuming.
It's like almost all about combat.
Yeah, I really love the flavor that a lot of 4th edition stuff brought to the table. The 4th edition Hexblade, the Warlord, the Sword Mage, all these things are flavorful and cool. The Dawn War Pantheon is the best pantheon in any Dungeons and Dragons campaign setting or edition, period, end of story. That's just the way I feel about it. Like it's the ultimate pantheon. It's great. And 5th edition is for me the ultimate edition of D&D. It's the perfect blend of character freedom and flavor and mechanical soundness, but also not too many mechanics. Lack of power creep.
Yeah, I like it. They give you this foundation, these optional foundations to use if you want.
Yeah, it's easy to dive into. It's easy to teach new players. It's easy to keep track of stuff. It's fucking perfect. I do carry over stuff from older editions, mostly from 4th edition. I like to carry over the idea of auras, the idea of specialized monsters that aren't just a cookie cutter from Monster Manual, and the idea of minions that are just monsters that can deal damage, but they're one-hit kills.
I love the once-a-days in 4E.
That's those daily powers are a lot of fun.
I like how you kind of see the 5E version of it, like just floating around.
You do.
Especially with the Xanathar stuff. A lot of it feels like 4th edition.
Yeah, it's getting there. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think that's...
hopefully that answers your question.
That was a good one.
Thank you. I'm going to read your name.
I enjoyed the answer.
Thank you, Ton Perry.
Ton Perry. Thank you.
All right. We got, I think, 2 more questions in us.
Oh, God. Stuart Davis, we're going to answer your question, I hope. And that is, what's your favorite amount of people for a campaign?
Oh, this is a quick one.
Yeah. And also, what inspirations do you go to when creating a homebrewed world in campaign?
Less quick now.
Well, I mean, we could be quick if we wanted to.
Yeah, go for it.
So for me, I really like 5 is a good number. I've enjoyed 5 a lot. Mm-hmm. I like how you guys set up your combat and how I can throw a lot at you. I feel like 3 would be also very cool and easy to kind of mitigate. 4 is weird. I don't like...
That's hilarious that you think that.
Yeah, I don't like... I know that's the standard.
That is the standard.
Yeah. I like more or less than that.
Interesting.
I don't obviously less than 3.
Right.
It's what are you doing?
Yeah.
But people do that, and
yeah, they do.
That's a lot of fun. I'm planning on doing it.
I've played in games where there's only 2 players.
I plan on doing it for story time with my baby, when she's old enough to understand. You go into the cave, there's all this stuff around. What do you do?
That's really fun.
But one-on-one. I mean, you could do this anywhere, but I like 5 a lot. I feel like that's the money number for me.
Interesting.
I'm gonna try. I haven't done any more than that. I'm gonna try 6, 7. I think we're gonna get 6 or 7 for a project we have coming up called Ranger Danger, where I'm just gonna throw everything at everything, and you guys are going to throw all your stuff at all the stuff I throw. It's going to be great. Okay. But for inspirations that I go to when I'm homebrewing a world campaign, just anything I love horror, and I love Stephen King in particular, and Edgar Allan Poe, and now I'm getting into a lot of H.P. Lovecraft, which I feel is bridging. It's like the missing piece in the middle.
Yeah, it really is.
I don't like some things about those writers. Yeah. So I just leave it all out.
I agree.
Or spaghetti westerns, stuff that I've already touched on. Like Cowboy Bebop is a huge inspiration. And what's the other one? Shoot, where the 2 samurais. Why am I blanking on the name?
Samurai Champloo.
Samurai Champloo is wonderful. Just the soundtrack and the colors and the storyline's so loose. It's really good. I like how they kind of cinch it all up at the end.
Yeah.
Those are just fun little adventuring things that I like. Lord of the Rings is prevalent in me just because we're playing D&D. Yeah. That's pretty much it for me. What about you? I know we've talked about this on the show here and there.
Yeah, definitely. For me, 3 and 4 are the 2 numbers that are ideal for me. 3 players. I love having 3 players. 4 is the perfect number in my book. It's just perfect. I will do 5. I will not like it, but I will do it. I will not do more than 5. I refuse. I will not try and even begin to wrestle with 6 players. I think for the style of DMing that I do, it just does not work. It takes too long. I don't have the patience for it. And even listening to the podcast with more than 5 players gives me anxiety because there's just too much.
Yeah, it's hard
can't do it.
Wrap your mind around 3 players.
What's going on?
Who are they again? Because you can't see them.
It's hard to stuff everyone's turn in that limited amount of time.
Yeah.
2, I've played in a game with 2, and it's a lot of fun, but you do feel like something's missing with 2. As for inspiration, for me, it's oh shit.
No. We'll pick one up off the ground. We dropped the questions.
We did. As for inspiration, all the old games I used to play, various Final Fantasy games, Zelda games, Secret of Mana, Legend of Dragoon is a huge influence on me. The various books I read as a kid, from Dragonlance to I'm of course a huge Tolkien fan.
Oh God, I didn't even say Legend of Zelda. Holy crap, Legend of Zelda is all over my DMing.
Oh yeah, definitely. Robert Jordan's books, Harry Potter a little bit. I love Harry Potter, but doesn't really influence my D&D.
It just kind of creeps into our lives. All of us probably as a culture.
A lot of Brandon Sanderson's novels are a huge influence on me. Patrick Rothfuss and his ongoing series is a huge influence. Jim Butcher and his Codex Alera books. I know a lot of people like his Justin Files books, but I'm a huge Codex Alera fan, so he did a lot of influence on me.
I mean, like more recently stuff like because D&D is relatively new to me. It's like it's almost like a couple years old to me at this point,
right?
As far as like my lifespan,
yeah.
So like the things that got me into D&D are inspiring, like Will's Worlds that I played in at first, and then like I listened to the Adventure Zone, and now I'm getting into Critical Role and listening to those campaign settings and like those styles, and Acquisitions Incorporated was a lot of fun. So those I kind of just they inspire me in such a way where I just take what I like and apply it to my own style.
Okay. All right.
I got one more, right?
We got one more question.
Ooh, and
there's a lot of questions in here, so I feel really bad. It's just we really don't have the time, folks. I'm sorry, but
yeah, we
got time for one more question.
Yeah, we got time for one more. So lucky you, and I'm sure we'll get to the ones we haven't answered on YouTube.
I'll do what I can.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, last question.
Jason Bayo.
Okay.
Take a look at this and tell me what speaks to
you.
I
cut it in the wrong place.
Oh, okay, so it's the bottom one.
It's the bottom one.
Okay, because there was a question on top. So that means we didn't pick something in there that doesn't have a question on it.
No, that means that that question that got cut was a two-parter, and that's the second half of it. But that question didn't get pulled. This is all Jason Bayo.
Okay, so I'll read the top one first.
No, don't read the top one. The top one belongs to someone else.
Oh, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the bottom one is, what classes lend themselves best to a story?
Okay.
The Paladin.
You think?
Yes.
The Paladin?
Yeah, I think that's a really solid one.
Okay.
You have like a divine purpose and shit,
Yeah. I would say all classes really do, but if we're having to pick, the ones that lend themselves more to a story by default are Warlock, Paladin, Cleric, and Sorcerer.
Yeah, they have like this divine kind of, or like this bigger power guiding them.
Exactly.
And shit.
Those four automatically have to have inherent NPCs of great power tied into their story.
Right.
Like it automatically, they all have an automatic motivator. Even Sorcerer, because Sorcerer, it's usually like, well, where the fuck did your powers come from?
Yeah.
And how is that affecting your life?
I feel like on that note, probably ASMR is in there.
That's a race, not a class.
Oh, you're right about that. My fault.
But I mean, in the same
Stuff
vein,
like that.
In the same vein, it's very, or tiefling. So yeah, that if I had to choose, because like with fighter, with rogue, with wizard, with I don't know.
It's like, somebody taught you some shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Even with monk.
And it's like, how interesting can that be? That's up to whatever you guys came up with.
Yeah. So.
But as far as like just picking one, like Paladin, it's like built in. Like this has to be at least kind of interesting because like God had something to do with it.
Yeah.
There you go.
It was a simple question for our last question.
I mean, do we have?
But thank you, Jason.
Is that?
No. Unfortunately, I personally am out of time.
Okay.
So
we are out of time.
Sorry we couldn't get to all the questions. Actually, it took us longer to answer questions than I thought. I was like, we got this. Apparently not. Apparently, we only answered
that's still pretty full.
Half of our questions.
Yeah.
But we'll do future Q&As, folks. So if your question didn't get answered this time, hopefully it'll get answered next time. Maybe for Q&As in the future, we'll set aside larger chunks of time now that we have a feeling for how long this takes. But we'll talk about that later.
But thanks a lot for submitting questions. We really appreciate that. And we really
absolutely.
appreciate you guys.
And thanks for getting us to 1,000 subscribers. Like, thank you so much.
Yeah,
and
really
with
cool.
That, I think we're going to call it
Let's call it a game. Panel
See you guys
closed.
next time. The Dungeoncast.